I just got software engineering offers from Amazon, Stripe, and Palantir. I went from getting all rejections to offers from top tech companies. In this video, I'll show you exactly how you can do the same. I went through 10 software engineering interview processes, and here is the breakdown of the different types of interviews I faced. Firstly, the most common type was behavioral. Every company had at least one round dedicated entirely to this, and some big tech companies even spent part of every interview asking behavioral related questions. Next, we have the infamous data structures and algorithms, a classic interview style question that a lot of people would say is an outdated way of judging candidates, but nonetheless, it is still asked a lot. Next, we have system design. So for example, design a messaging app, and these rounds were quite common. And here we have the classic Pareto principle. 70% of all interviews were focused on these three areas: behavioral, data structures and algorithms, and system design. So of course, a key component of my approach for studying was allocating the majority of my time towards these types of questions, and we'll dive deeper into that later. Next, we have low-level design. So for example, writing code to implement real-world systems like a parking lot system or an elevator. It's not asked as much as the other three, but it's still important to cover. Next, we have full-stack coding questions, which include questions like building front-end components in React and implementing REST API endpoints. These full-stack endpoints, while they're not that frequently asked, they are becoming more popular as a lot of companies are realizing that they are a much better representation of what a lot of software engineers do on a day-to-day basis, and therefore are better at determining if a candidate will be able to perform well on the job. And finally, we have take-home projects. These were only given by startups, which makes sense as they want to ensure that you can start contributing from day one, as most of them do not have the luxury that larger companies do in terms of having time to ramp new hires up on their tech stack. So now that you have an idea for the types of interviews companies are conducting, I'm going to break down exactly what I studied for each interview type to get the offers. For behavioral interviews, after doing a lot of research and then iterating across multiple companies' interviews, I created a list of 29 questions that, once prepared, covered every question I came across. So I added these questions to the behavioral playbook where you can add your own answers. And the key thing here is to use the STAR framework. So situation, task, action, and result. And another key point is to remember to try to add as many different examples as possible, because interviewers don't like it when you start reusing the same scenarios for different questions. So by having many scenarios, it will help you stand out from other candidates. And the nice thing about preparing these questions is it only takes a few hours to practice, and once you've done it once, you're done, and you'll only need to change the company specific questions like, why do you want to join this company? I also created a mini video series that goes over the STAR principle in depth, as well as the core types of behavioral questions asked and how to approach them. And as well as this, there is also negotiation tactics to maximize your offer. And this is crucial because recruiters negotiate constantly, while you as a software engineer candidate will only negotiate once every few years. So they have a huge experience advantage. And I've seen other colleagues slip up here. And so even if you pass all the interviews, a weak negotiation can cost you a lot. So learn the basics and make sure to watch these videos. Next, we have data structures and algorithms. So this style of question was made popular by Google in the 2000s as a way to determine a candidate's problem-solving ability and computer science fundamentals. A lot of people say it's outdated and doesn't reflect what most engineers do. But anyway, as you saw from the overview, they are still heavily asked. And so, like many people, I originally studied the Blind 75, which is a list of focused DSA questions created by an ex-staff engineer at Meta that covers foundational topics like arrays, strings, trees, graphs, dynamic programming, and a lot of others. But after a lot of research and doing actual interviews, I found that it wasn't a good representation of questions companies actually asked. So that's why I created the TechPrep 100, which I found to be the best representation of DSA questions actually asked by big tech companies. And as well as this, a lot of interviewers want you to give the optimal time and space complexity solutions, as well as to be able to explain it. And that's why I added the editorial solutions section where you can see the optimal solutions, as well as the AI analyzer, where you can deepen your understanding of the optimal solutions, their bigger complexities, and the trade-off between different solutions, and ask any question you want. Next is system design interviews. So these evaluate how you architect large-scale real-world systems. So think designing Twitter, Uber, or a rate limiter. There's a pretty well-defined list of system designs that most companies follows. And so I added solutions to each of these on TechPrep and then just tried to study as many as possible. I also noticed that all system design interviews use whiteboarding tools like Excalidraw, where you draw out your solution first and then describe it. And then interviewers would ask follow-up questions, testing the depth of my knowledge. That's why I built the mock AI system design whiteboard, which gets you draw out the system first, describe it, and will then ask the exact same follow-up questions asked by interviewers so you can deepen your understanding. And so this was a total game changer. I found system design interviews way easier after practicing in this way. Next, I studied low-level design, and so I just studied the most commonly asked questions, and these were typically asked by startups and scale-ups. So these interviews are designed to assess how you design the internal structure of software components. And once you practice a few, you will get familiar with the concepts they are looking for. So like object-oriented design skills, clean code and maintainability, modeling real-world problems, and design patterns and correctness of logic. And so once you practice a few of these, you'll pick up on the patterns interviewers like to see naturally, and it makes passing these interview rounds a lot easier. Next, there's the full stack questions. So you can adjust this depending on if you're applying for a full stack front end or back end position. For front end, they typically ask you to build reusable React components and hooks. So I built a list of questions to practice, and again, practicing what interviewers expect to see under time pressure made answering them in interviews a lot easier. And for back-end focused questions, they were mainly REST API questions that tested how I interacted with paginated APIs and then how I manipulated the fetch data. Again, for this, I built a list of questions, and once I practiced them, it made it super straightforward to be able to do it in interviews. And lastly, many of the startups I apply to use take-home projects, which makes sense because they want to see that you can deliver value from day one. And so to prepare, I practiced several real-world take-home tests. Working through these helped me get comfortable with a wide range of technologies and allowed me demonstrate that I had experience with production style code bases. I also think this helped me stand out from other candidates who had only prepared for the DSA side of things. And finally, to recap, if you are actively applying for jobs or will be in the future, these are the 7 steps I would follow to maximize the chances of getting offers. First, to maximize the probability of passing the resume screening, use the resume optimizer to ensure it includes all the key terms and skills that automated filters look for when describing which candidates to move forward to interview. You can also pass in a job description if you want it tailored specifically for that role. For behavioral interviews, prepare strong answers to the 29 questions in the behavioral playbook. This will only take an hour or two, and you can reuse it for every interview. Also, don't forget to use the mini-series to understand the STAR principle and also for negotiation best practices. If it's your first time studying DSA and you have plenty of time, I would practice the blind 75 questions to build a solid understanding of the core DSA patterns. And if you're short for time or are already familiar with the fundamentals, skip straight to the TechPrep 100. These are the most commonly asked big tech DSA questions, and so it is the most time-efficient way of studying for DSA interviews. For system design interviews, study the most commonly asked questions, so study as many as you can from the list in TechPrep. For each question, watch the videos, study the editorial solutions, and most importantly, test yourself with the AI whiteboard. Practice drawing the system and describing it out loud. This closely mimics the real-world interview format and it helps you get comfortable with both the tooling and the flow interviewers expect. For low-level design, work through as many examples from the list as you can, and after a few, you'll naturally become comfortable showing off the core skills interviewers are looking for. For full-stack questions, just work through as many front-end and REST API questions as possible. This will give you a solid coverage, and because these questions have only recently become popular, most candidates don't practice them, so even a small amount of preparation here can help you stand out from the competition. And for take-home projects, if you're applying to startups, it's worth practicing these so that you can clearly demonstrate that you can contribute from day one. If you're not targeting startups, you can just skip this step. And for a bonus, if you know which companies you're applying to, I highly recommend using the company-specific sections. They show the most commonly asked questions for each company, making it the most efficient and targeted way to prepare. And if you want to see the exact set of questions I studied to land offers from Amazon, Stripe, and Palantir, I highly recommend checking out the Elite Candidate Roadmap. It lets you build a fully customizable study plan, allowing you to choose your timeline, weekly schedule, daily hours, and the specific questions you want to cover, so you can fine-tune your prep and land offers from any company you're applying to. So to check it out, head over to techprep.app. Hopefully you'll be able to get offers from any company you apply to. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.